or break. Make it yours.
Welcome everyone to Worlds Cooldown. How's your make or break tolerance? Like how much has been hit after the whole day?
Where is it?
Where is it? Hello, I'm Xerxe, joined by Chronicler and Emily. Emily Rand, League of Emily. I do double take because I saw your Twitter ad there.
All of the above.
All of the Emilys. In any case, we are at the end of this day. By the way, if you've been watching since minute 1 in the pre-show and you're still here, hit us up on Twitter because that's great. But we did see a lot of great matches today, so I'd like to pull up the standings first to kind of take stock of what we've seen on day 1 here at Worlds. We see LNG is leading Group A 2-0 on the day, as well as Galatasaray in Group B, closely followed by Cloud9. Chronicler, if I can ask you for your overarching thoughts or anything that stood out to you about day 1, what would it be?
I'll be very brief. LNG, good. Hanwha, as an LCK fan, I need to touch upon it. Scary, but in a way that I expected. And Galatasaray, my surprise of day 1. Like, those guys look clean, and they look way better compared to the rest of their opponents than I would have expected.
Absolutely. Let's pick out a couple of those things, starting maybe with at the beginning of the day, we had LNG versus Hanwha Life to kind of set the tone for what that matchup was going to look like, Emily. And we saw actually LNG, when it came to the later stages of the game, pretty handily beating out Hanwha.
Yeah, I mean, I think LNG are still, I think what we saw from them is still what I expected, right? Like, I did expect them to go 2-0 today. I think their game against Hanwha Life was, you know, obviously close, but when you look at the both teams' strengths and weaknesses, especially when it came to team fighting and overall team coordination, I do think that is where both me and Chronicler gave you know, LNG the edge, and that's what we saw. Yeah. We also saw some of their draft proclivities with, you know, like some certain blind picks, especially for Ale. And Ale was an incredibly pleasant surprise because I think in LPL we saw him really want to take some of these like top tier like carry matchups in top lane, and sometimes it would work really, really well and sometimes it would work really, really poorly. So it's nice to see him come out and have such a strong showing today, aided by Tarzan.
It does lead us to the thing we did not mention or did not dare mentioning in the pre-show and in the match intro, Chronicler, which was the top side for the side of Hanwha Life, particularly Morgan. So what can you say about, you know, what you've seen so far and maybe what the directives or working points should be for Hanwha going forward?
Yeah, well, this is a break glass in case of emergency. There's always doo-doo. That's not necessarily an answer if we've seen Hanwha. I think what we saw from Hanwha today was not quite a regression to the level they've shown during summer, but a large step down from what we saw from them. They looked incredibly dominant and where everything really clicked. I think that tomorrow they will look a lot better. I think that it's important to recognize that players like Willa and Vista in particular are very new, and they looked very shaken when I saw them on stage. I'm pretty sure that tomorrow they'll look a little bit better. When it comes to actually gameplay, it's kind of hard because normally the things I suggest, I don't think Hanwha can fix. Emily already mentioned it a lot throughout the day, and the core issue for Hanwha is that they're not really a team. Obviously you hone in on Chovy, but Devs and Vista themselves are quite strong as well. But you saw against LNG, like LNG, when it really came down to it, moved as a unit. I don't think that Hanwha is going to really suddenly develop that, so the individual level needs to rise by tomorrow.
I think that's a great read on the situation, and I think a good call out as well in terms of the newer players. This is, I'm sorry to repeat it, this is make or break, because this is Worlds, right? This is no pun intended, because it does really fit. If you are put in a situation where you've never been before, and all the lights, the cameras are on, and the pressure is on of an entire region, everyone is going to react differently. And I think that's a great segue into Cloud9 versus DFM, because my gosh, are the LCS teams always kind of up against it in terms of public opinion. And Day Today came out and just said, no, we have evolved since MSI, where we actually also showed very good play at times. And this is how we're going to approach Worlds, Emily, with a fantastic opening. over that nation focus me.
Yeah, and I think you can look at the foundations that they still had at the Midseason Invitational and what their actual weaknesses were around that, which is, okay, we have a very good individual laner in Fudge. How do we help that? Or like, what is the facilitating around where his wave state is with the rest of the team? I'm going to continue to talk about jungle lane communication a lot during this tournament because I really like to do so. And the most important thing with this C9 team is they came out very fast and loose. They looked like a unit when they were setting up those minion waves. Someone was going up and communicating with Fudge. So those gaps in communication that I talked about with one person on the team wanting to do one thing and another person on the team wanting to do another thing, and then they miss a timer that was actually really important for them to be able to execute that play. I think we saw a lot less of that with C9 today, and they looked a lot more comfortable with themselves just as a team as a whole. And I do think towards topside can be such a strong point for them, right? Like if it's set up correctly, it looks so good when you have Perks leaving lane to help topside, when you have really strong communication between Blabber and Fudge, and that was really awesome to see from them today.
Oh, absolutely, and this gives us kind of I think a good inkling of what this group may look like. We said at the top of the day, there is a big chance that everything is very closely contested. Now we have to revisit some of our expectations. Again, only a 1 or 2 game sample size for some of these teams, but for now, Cloud9, Galatasaray, as said, looking the best, while for me, a bit of disappointing start from Beyond Gaming after kind of what was expected of them. Is that fair to say, Chronicler?
I would agree. And I think small sample size is fine because there's only going to be 4 games played a team, right? Like you don't really get the luxury of a larger sample size in play-ins. But I want to hold off on criticizing BYG because I think that we might have just misread the situation and completely underestimated how good Galatasaray really are. And it might be that, you know, against UOL and against C9 and DFM that BYG is still going to have similar issues. But I was just, and me and Emily both, honestly, were like so impressed with how proactive, how clean, barring, you know, some of their finishing flourishes, Galatasaray looked throughout the entire day.
Yeah, they looked a lot more coordinated around what they wanted to do early. Because when I talked about their matchup against Beyond Gaming, I was like, this might not actually be a good matchup for them. Like, I think they're a good team. I think these are their strengths, but this might be a really poor matchup based on what Beyond was good at, especially with Husha facilitating a lot of their plays early to mid to kind of help mitigate if they were going for a scaling comp. Galatasaray set up for those early top lane dives so well against them. I thought it was great. It's not something, you know, Goldborg touched upon it on cast, but like, it's not something we necessarily saw a ton from them when I was watching them in the TCL. So that evolution of like, okay, again, this team, Mojito, is this rising like powerhouse jungler from the TCL. Xerxe, a support that has like some really insane reads on certain roam timers. We already know that. We've been waiting to see him on the international stage. So like, how is this unit going to go up against a team like Beyond Gaming that we did rate pretty highly? And they crushed it. Like, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. And I'm glad that you called out Xerxe again, because we do have an interview after their 2-0 start for Galatasaray. Here is Lore with the support.
Thank you very much, Xerxe. And Xerxe, thank you so much for joining me for your very first World Championship interview. This is your first time we have you here. How happy do you feel about participating in the play-in stage this time around?
It's actually really cool to be here.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so great. I feel so great to have such a nice day as well, like 2-0. Overall, it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
Tell me about your day, actually. 2-0, that's amazing for a team that never made Worlds, actually. So how did you make it happen? And tell me about the day and the wins you had.
Like, this team wasn't here because it didn't have, they never created, like, good roster. Like, this time they put up, like, some investment on players. And we had, like, a really good Turkish squad from last split. Then we added, like, two good players as well. So, like, I think it's like it was like really easy to go Worlds, like from TCL after that.
Wow. And how about the games you had today? Explain the wins. How did you made it, and what did you think about the competition you faced there?
I think like this group B, was like 5 even teams kinda. Like everyone can win like everyone. So we pretty much weren't afraid of like really good teams, or like we don't disrespect like less good teams, let's say. So I think it was expected for us kinda.
And how confident do you feel about making it out of play-ins with the group you have, since everyone is pretty even, as you said?
I was thinking till we come here, I was thinking like it would be like 20% because as I say, like everyone is even kinda. But now I feel like we will make it out.
Nice. And you're going to be facing Cloud9 tomorrow. They're one of the big dogs here in the playing stage because of the experience every player has. So first, are you looking forward to facing the team? And second, what makes you confident that you're going to beat them? Because they played today and they looked impressive, I think.
I think Cloud9 was like the hardest team in this group. We will just like put our best, I guess. Like I'm sure like they will be hard, but we will do like our best.
All right, well, we'll see about that tomorrow. Last question for you, though. Is there a message you want to send to the Turkish fans who are watching you today at Worlds?
Can I say in Turkish?
Of course, if you translate afterwards, because...
Yeah, okay. I will just say, like, thanks for, like, supporting us, like literally every day. I am getting support from DMs and stuff. Thanks for those, like, I want to say that. Teşekkürler arkadaşlar, bizi desteklediğiniz için sonuna kadar. Biz de elimizden geleni yapmaya devam edeceğiz.
Oh, thank you for this message. Thank you very much for the interview, and good luck on the rest of play-ins.
Thanks.
And Xerxe, back to you in cooldown.
Thank you, Laure. Fantastic first day from your part, and what a fun interview with Xerxe. Living dangerously. His DMs are open. Slide in there, guys. Just tell them how well they played today. And maybe let's immediately check out the schedule for tomorrow. Day 2 of Worlds 2021, another 8 games. And remember, we only have 3 days of play-ins group stage, meaning that some teams will actually finish their group stage in the play-ins, like their best of ones, after tomorrow, namely Hanwha Life and Galatasaray. So let's take a look. What's jumping out? I, of course, want to see how Hanwha Life do after going 1-1. Today, Cloud9 is up versus Beyond, and Galatasaray at the end of the day, Chronicler. So a couple of spicy matchups.
Yeah, that's after today. That final one is probably the one I'm most excited about. The one I'm terrified of is Hanwha Life versus well, any team really. If they refine their form, I think they'll be completely fine. They should be completely fine. But it wouldn't be the first time that OCE makes great use of a floundering team to put them in the dirt. So hoping we can avoid that as a big LCK representative.
Yeah, I also want to pay attention to what the Red Canids do. I think they had a pretty good first showing as well, and they're up versus Hanwha Life tomorrow, and they definitely have the tools to make it to the next round, but it does need to materialize, as we talked about before, not just your opening game, right? Now you got to build on that.
Yeah, in terms of them as a team, I think we saw a little bit what we touched upon even in pre-show, is that they're a young team in terms of experience with each other. So the cool thing about watching a team like that on the international stage is that sometimes they can improve so exponentially over a really short amount of time, and take not only what they learn from scrims, but what they learn from game to game and adjust very quickly. As we touched upon before, Brazilian teams haven't always been the best at this, but the cool thing, again, about this team is we've already seen it happen in real time during their playoff run to get here. And because of that, you can already see the kind of skeleton of what they want to do, right? Like with a lot of Grepthar's engages. Shore up some of the early laning, have a little bit stronger, jungle to lane communication. But I think you can see the building blocks of what they want to do. And now it's just a matter of, okay, how do you improve on that to be able to get out of this group?
Yeah, I love how cutthroat it all is, that tomorrow you got to start fixing things, or you got to start, continuing what you're doing. Yeah, 4 games, that's all you have, basically. So thank you so much, Chronicler and Emily, for spending this long-ass day with me together. Fantastic, flawless performance so far. And that was all from us here in Berlin, but be very sure to join us tomorrow for day 2 of Worlds 2021. See you then. Bye. Good night.
It all leads to this. Make or break.
Vitality will take
A new era is awaiting. Make it yours.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Worlds 2021, taking place in beautiful Reykjavik, Iceland. We have 8 whole matches of international action.
Here we go. Willer goes in. We're going to see the Supreme display his talents hitting onto another 4 people as Ale jumps on the Chovy. He will have the counter strike here onto Morgan, but he's not going to be able to get anything else done. There is the bullet time going down. Willer is dead. It's 1, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, and right into the middle, your dessert, LNG. Bon appetit.
Beautifully dodges the grand entrance there as well. The fight is already over. Yes!
It's a triple for the C9 mid laner. Perks